the story about the rays of sun. Years ago, before the Philippines had its own life, a story of 8 people went by. A group of friends had been together since birth. They've seen hardships of one another, faced situations they encountered, created a bond that everyone envies, and became one of the greatest groups of people on the land. 4 girls were named Nila, Bulak, Kawit, Seville, and 4 boys were named Talahib, Pangpang, Bonbon, and Lago. The group was and has been inseparable. You could have thought that the boys were the feudal warriors everyone assumes. But the girls? Not the Maria Claras you have expected them to be. Women by that time were seen as weak and powerless slaves. Males were seen as strong, powerful, and a leader. As for them, living in a society where hierarchy and patriarchy were present, they have thought they could do something about it. An announcement was made, for all males in the city should be trained to fight, for men should be seen as the hope and the heroes of the land for the upcoming war. And all women should stay at home, take care of their families, and prepare for the needs of the males. The 4 boys in their group participated in training every morning, and the 4 girls who felt they can do something more than waiting their friends to come back are also secretly practicing every night. And so, they do this kind of setup every day and night to prepare for the upcoming war. And at the end of their last training, they were given 3 days to rest and prepare themselves. Farther from the valley on the 3rd day, the 8 friends were talking about what could possibly happen to them and their place for tomorrow's war, until they suddenly heard an explosion in the middle part of the land, which they realized that it was their place where it happened. They immediately ran back and questioned themselves as to why their enemies were attacking their land on that particular day. They are unaware that their enemies had been preparing to invade on that day for quite some time. Upon their arrival, many of their associates were killed and stabbed. However, instead of the guys, the 4 girls are the ones who fight the enemies, and the 4 males are the ones who look after their wounded allies. And this inspired their other comrades, which made them realize that men, like women, can do the same with their beliefs, and that women, like men, can also fight for their countryland. As a result, the females in their land battled alongside the enemies, and the other males assisted in caring for their injured allies. However, as time passed and the battle was not yet over, their enemies grew in number while their allies became increasingly scarce, until there were just 9 of them left, with a child hiding in a dark area near a tree and witnessing the battle between the 8 friends and their countless enemies. The days passed, and the war took hold of them. We've been fighting for days, and we've made it this far. I guess it's time for us to surrender for peace and for our land. There are only 8 of us left, and with us is a child who has seen nothing but our nemesis' anger, Nila remarked. As hopelessly devoted their lives, everyone was in agreement. Upon searching for food, the 4 girls went hunting, while the 4 boys were guarding their coasts. Gunshots were fired. Immediately the boys ran where the girls went and witnessed their friends' dead bodies. Cold feet surrounding their bodies, they couldn't move by the sad scene they saw until they hadn't realized they were surrounded by an army of the opposite and they were tortured to death. After the war, the child's point of view. An eerie feeling wrapped around the land as I was walking. Years have passed after the battle happened. A lot has changed. From the rivals celebrating their win to them owning the land, and yes, I did survive. After the last gunshot I heard from the battle, I knew no one survived except me. I was starving for days, lonely, and scared for my life. Not until a good combatant from the other side lent its mercy to me and took me as his home. As I grew up, the memory of the said war and the 8 people who I considered soldiers who did not only fight for our land, but changed the view of our people, made me inspired to write this story. For the strength that they put, for the bravery they had, for fighting peace for its people, and for them to be remembered as heroes of Filipinas. And I call them the 8 rays of sun.